This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on Live Bet Sunday, I'm Scott Seidenberg on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, as the Cavaliers, a little bit of a comeback here. I mean, who are we kidding? They've just outscored the Pacers by 7 points here in this third quarter. They're still down 30 plus. It is 98-66 right now. Pacers over the Cavaliers with just under 4 minutes to go here in the third quarter. For those of interest, live line right now, Pacers minus 27.5, live total of 239.5. So keeping an eye on the action going on there, as the Pacers have just scored 100-66. All right. Meanwhile, on the ice, we are approaching crunch time as the Panthers still holding on to a 1-0 lead over the Maple Leafs, though, with 7:33 to go in regulation. We'll see if the Maple Leafs have it in them to tie it, or if the Panthers score again, extend the lead, and 2-on-1 goal. Panthers score as they take a 2-0 lead over the Toronto Maple Leafs with 7:33 to go in regulation. 2-0 Panthers as they are on their way to evening up the series at 2 games apiece. The Panthers have really dominated the play in this game. 33 shots on goal for the Panthers, 34 shots on goal, I should say, and 19 for the Maple Leafs. There's been 9 power play opportunities in this game, only 1 power play goal. 3 power plays for the Maple Leafs. They have not scored on any of them. 6 power play opportunities for the Panthers, and they did score 1 power play goal. And just now, the second goal of the game scored by... Who scored this goal? Sam Bennett, as we have a 2-0 lead for the Panthers. Just over 7 minutes remaining here. Your live total right now is at 3.5. The under is minus 230. And I only think that if Toronto doesn't score, you're only getting 1 empty net goal. As Bobrovsky makes another big save. Things are starting to get chippy here. There was a big hit in the center of the ice, and now some extracurriculars after the whistle. This is getting pretty chippy here between the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. Sergei Bobrovsky has been up to the task in this entire game, as I mentioned, for the shots on goal. It hasn't been as many as the Panthers have shot, but Bobrovsky has made all 20 saves on the 20 shots against. And Joseph Woll, meanwhile, 32 saves, but he did allow 2 goals. So Panthers lead the Leafs 2-0, 7:30 to go here in the third period. We do have some good news in the NBA game. We have some good news, okay? Pacers lead the Cavs 102-66. That's not the good news. Well, it is if you have the Pacers. If you're a Pacers backer, great news for you. But the best bet that we gave out here on the show, courtesy of our guest Mackenzie Rivers earlier, Darius Garland over 21.5 points plus assists. Darius Garland has 17 points with 5 assists. That math adds up to 22. We have cashed our best bet on the prop of this game. Darius Garland over 21. Now he's got 19 points. Look at this. Garland might get more of the points, the 21.5. He might just get it all points. But we have cashed that. Darius Garland over 21.5 points plus assists cashes as he is the leading scorer for the Cleveland Cavaliers with 19 points so far in this game. And if you did take the Tyrese Halliburton under prop, Halliburton only 11 points here. And I don't know how much he's going to shoot here for the remainder of this game. I don't even know if he might play in the fourth quarter. But Halliburton to go under 17.5, he's at 11 points right now. That is trending towards another win. So the 2 props given out here on the show for the game look pretty good. That Cavaliers side, though, not looking good at all. 102-68 is the score here with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Now, how important is this win for the Indiana Pacers? Well, there have been 293 NBA playoff series that at one point were 3-1 leads. Of those 3-1 leads, only 13 times has a team come back to win that series. Most recently, it happened in 2020. Now, bubble year, do you want to even say that was a thing? I don't know. Like, it's hard to kind of judge the bubble games there, but you did have 2 3-1 comebacks, both by the Denver Nuggets against the Jazz and the Clippers. 2016, we all remember, the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA Finals came back from 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors. So maybe that's kind of more like the last time we've seen it happen, if we don't want to count, like, you know, the bubble games in the COVID year. Also in 2016, the Warriors did come back from 3-1 down, or 1-3 down, I should say, against the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. So they came back from 1-3 to win in 7, and then they blew the 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals and lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. But 13 out of 293 playoff series, 13 comebacks from down 3-1. A Pacers win here tonight, which they are well on their way to, gives them a 3-1 lead in this best-of-7 series. I'm Scott Seidenberg. You can hit me up on Twitter at ScottsOnAir, ScottsOnair, as we take a look at the futures market here in the NBA. To win the Eastern Conference, the Celtics are minus 125. And let that sink in here. Pacers are plus 450 as the second favorite. I mean, that market will change here after the game. I don't think that's updated based on, like, the results of this game. But it's still interesting that the Celtics are down 2-1 and are still the favorite, like an overwhelming favorite to win that series, but then also win the next series. And yeah, here's an updated market. So Celtics minus 125 to win the East, Pacers plus 390 to win the East. To win the NBA Finals, Thunder plus 130, Celtics plus 210, then the Timberwolves at plus 900, followed by the Pacers and then the Cavaliers. So that is intriguing there. Do I think the Pacers have what it takes to get by the Boston Celtics in the next round? And first off, the Celtics have to win first, right? And even though I believe it's going to happen, even though the market believes it's going to happen, you still got to play the games, right? The market also believed the Cavaliers should be favored in this series, even down 2-1. The market believed the Cavaliers should be 5-point road favorites tonight. So we can't just go off what the market says. We got to play the games. That being said, I do believe the Celtics get by the New York Knicks. I think the Celtics are better than the New York Knicks. But they're down 2-1, and you got to play it out, okay? You got to play the games. But if it's Celtics-Pacers, which it is very likely to be, Celtics will, of course, be favored in that series. Celtics will be favored in every game of that series. Our guest, John Corrales, last segment talked about it. He said that he was actually more afraid of the Pacers than any team here in the Eastern Conference because of their athleticism, because of the way that they can shoot, and the way the pace in which they play, the way they can run. I'm not as afraid because I don't think the Pacers can do to the Celtics what they've been able to do here to the Cleveland Cavaliers. What I've noticed is there are times, and we have seen it because we play the system play all the time, right? After a Celtics loss, what do? We play the opponent's team total to go under. We've been doing it all season long. We've been doing it all playoffs long. When the Celtics play their best defense, they can really dominate anybody and limit anybody. And are the Pacers, going to be able to do what they did tonight to the Celtics and that defense? Are the Pacers going to be able to go 39 of 69 from the field against the Celtics? I don't think so. I mean, look at these Celtics games and look at, like, the numbers here. Like, the Knicks went 32 of 80 in their last game, the last loss. Before that, the Knicks were, 37 of 86. So I guess, the shots are there. The attempts are there. I mean, that was also a Knicks 20-point comeback, same as in Game 1, 20-point comebacks. But the fact that I don't see it. I don't see this Celtics team losing. I don't see them losing to the Knicks. Okay, I think they will win the next 3 games and will win the series 4-2. And I don't see them losing to the Pacers. It's a great story, this Pacers team. But I don't see them beating the Boston Celtics. Hey, bet the Preakness Stakes with First Bet and get rewarded. New customers can use promo code VSIN200 to score a 20% rebate on all wagers for the first 60 days up to $200. That's win or lose, you get paid back. Download the First Bet app or visit first.com/bet. Use promo code VSIN200 to get started today. That's first.com/bet. Promo code VSIN200. We're going to check out the final 2 minutes here on the ice. Panthers up 2-0 over the Leafs. I'm Scott Seidenberg. It's Live Bet Sunday here on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
The net is empty as the seconds tick away, and the Florida Panthers will skate to a victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's just a matter of the final score here, whether it will be a 2-0 game or maybe 3-0. It's probably going to be 2-0 as the Panthers, the Panthers just killed off 40 seconds in the corner. Unbelievable as they pinned the puck against the boards and didn't allow Toronto to get it. This game, 20 seconds left. We'll see if there's another goal or not, but it looks like it's going to be a 2-0 win for the Florida Panthers. So cash it on your Panthers money line, cash it on your Panthers puck line, as Florida will even up the series at 2 games apiece. The home team winning all 4 games of this series so far. So Toronto took games 1 and 2 on their home ice. The Panthers holding serve on their home ice. And you know the old cliche in a 7-game series, a series doesn't begin until a team loses a home game. And that's what they say, and that's what they will continue to say as this series shifts back to Toronto for game number 5. And taking a look now, see if the line has been posted yet for that game. Not yet. Once this goes to a close, I'm sure they'll post that game. There's like 15 seconds left. They're just winding down the clocks here, and we'll wait to see what the adjusted series price is going to be. I would not be shocked. In fact, I'm going to call it right now. Oh, the refs are jumping in quickly. They don't want there to be any more fights here as this gets really chippy down the stretch. Punches thrown, elbows thrown. At this point, gloves are off now. At this point, just end the game, guys. I mean, come on. Let's not get anybody hurt here. Although this is fun. I believe that we're going to see the Panthers as the favorite in the series. Even though it's a 2-2 series, even though it goes back to Toronto for game number 5 and Toronto has home ice advantage, there's 3 games left in this series, or there's 3 games left, and 2 of them are in Toronto. I still think the Panthers will be favored in this series. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if the Panthers are small favorites in game number 5 on the road. but we'll wait to see once that line does get posted here. But right now, no posted just yet on that game, as this one is still going. And finally, we have a posted price. All right, we click refresh on the page. Yep, look at me, calling it out. Panthers minus 135 in Toronto. Game number 5 on Wednesday. Panthers minus 135. This game, first game of the series that has gone under the total, because the first 3 games have all gone over the total. Your updated series price, Panthers minus 180, Leafs plus 150. That is a heavy price on this series. Man, minus 180 on the Panthers. I guess that's what the market believes, is how good the Panthers have been and how dominant. I mean, this is a great shutout win for Bobrovsky. And how about this? In the last, as Kevin Rogers from Odd Shopper, who frequent guest on the program here, he tweeted out, in the last 112 minutes of game time since early in the second period of Game 3, the Maple Leafs have scored just 1 goal. That's amazing. And think about this. Look at what we've seen now in this second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, is we have really seen the goaltending step up. So all of these games were a lot of over games, except for like the Capitals Hurricanes, but a lot of over games. Yesterday, or what was it, Friday, you saw Connor Hellebuck pitch a shutout against the Dallas Stars, a 4-0 win for the Jets. Then yesterday, you saw Frederik Andersen with a shutout as the Hurricanes beat the Capitals 4-0. And then today, you saw Jake Ottinger have a great game, only allowing 2 goals, and Sergei Bobrovsky have an incredible game, shutting out the Maple Leafs. We're starting to see the goaltending come into play here as we progress throughout the postseason. So the overs that we're hitting at an extremely high rate earlier in this postseason have sort of maybe come back down to earth. I'm going to actually look at some numbers here of the totals in these Stanley Cup playoffs. So this year, let's see. If we count, does this game counted yet? This game isn't counted yet, but we're going to count this one as an under. Overs still lead 35-24. Okay? 35-24, you are still hitting the overs at about 60%. But let's look back at just the last couple of games here. You had an over in the Jet Stars it went over 5.5. A push on the Knights game. Under, 2 overs, under, over. So just in the last, we had a streak here in the playoffs of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was like 6 straight overs. And since that moment, it has been, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unders and 4 overs. All right. So not a lot of data here, but it is interesting that we are starting to see some goaltenders show up here in big spots as we get further and further along in these playoffs. And really, could it be the teams also playing, just great defensive hockey here? And because really only 22 shots on goal for Toronto in this game. We know that they certainly took more shots. They just didn't get that many through to the net. In the entire game, the Maple Leafs had 54 attempts. Only 22 got through to the goal. For the Panthers, they had 75 attempts. And 37 of the 75 got through to the net. Joseph Woll played great. But this is what we're seeing now. The goaltending showing up, the defense showing up. You put your body on the line, more blocked shots. As we get further along in these series, that's what we're going to see. We're going to see more block shots. We're going to see more goaltenders coming through. Might be an opportunity to look at like save props as we progress throughout this postseason, or even like block shot props, if we're being honest. Like, let's look at this game. In this Maple Leafs Panthers game, and let's see, block shots. Let's see. Steven Lorenz had 3. Mitch Marner, 4 blocks. Chris Tanev had 3. You had 2 for Forsling, 2 for Mikkola for the Panthers. That could be something. Let's look at the first game here. Dallas today and Winnipeg. You had, let's see, who had a lot? No one really had a lot, actually. Just 2 for a couple of these defenders, 2. All right, so maybe that's not the way to go, but maybe the saves is. Maybe the saves are the way to go with these goaltenders kind of stepping up late here in these series. Here's your schedule for tomorrow. We have the Capitals at the Hurricanes. That is game number 4 with Carolina leading that series 2-1 as the Canes are coming off a 4-0 shutout victory. And I will say this, even though this has been an under series, 2-1 in game 1, 3-1 in game 2, 4-0 in game 3. This postseason, you are 4-0 to the over in games after a team gets shut out. So after a team gets shut out, the next game, you are actually, 5-0 to the over. I said 4-0. It's 5-0 to the over after the teams get shut out. The Lightning and Panthers, that was on April 22nd. That game went over. 6-2 was the score. Lightning Panthers again in April 26th, 5-1. Stars Avalanche was 6-2. Maple Leafs Senators was 4-2. Stars Jets today was 5-2. And tomorrow we have Capitals and Hurricanes. So the teams actually, after being shut out, how about this? 4-1 straight up, but 5-0 to the over after being shut out. Now that's something interesting. Do we look at the Capitals and do we look at the over? Maybe yeah. Maybe we go Capitals, little Capitals over action. And actually, it should be 4-0. I don't know why there was a second game there for the Lightning and the Panthers, because Lightning Panthers, there was only one shutout in that series. It was game number 2, was a 2-0 win for the Lightning, and the next game was 5-1 that went over. So it's 4-0 in these playoffs. 4-0 to the over when a team gets shut out. And those teams have won. The teams that got shut out have all won their next game. 4-0. 4-0 to the over, 4-0 on the straight up. Capitals in the over might be the play. We'll preview more of tomorrow's action, not just in the NHL, but in the NBA playoffs as well. We'll tell you about what's going on in the final minutes here in Indy coming up next. I'm Scott Seidenberg. It's Live Bet Sunday here on VSiN.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Scott Seidenberg back here with you, Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, as we wrap up what's going on here in Indy. 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, and everything's looking like almost exactly how we thought it was going to play out after a blowout first half. First off, the Cavs with a dominant third quarter, and so if you laid the -1.5 in the third quarter, you won with the Cavs. They outscored the Pacers 38-29 in that third quarter, but here in the fourth quarter, it's a little bit closer, 17-14 in favor of the Cavs, as the fourth quarter, remember that line that we looked at prior to the second half beginning, because I wanted to play the Cavs in the fourth quarter, it was -6.5. Didn't feel like playing that, and it still could hit. Cavs are up 3 here in the fourth quarter. I also think the fourth quarter under would have been a good play, but we'll see how the remaining 4 minutes kind of plays out here. It looks like it is going to go under, and that's a strong play. In these blowout situations, you take a look at the fourth quarters, because the team that is being blown out often wins these fourth quarters, and those fourth quarters wind up being low scoring. You have the team that's up by a lot of points, the backups are in, they're playing out the strings here, they kind of milk the possessions, and at the end of the game, they have no interest in scoring. No one wants to do anything stupid. They kind of just dribble out the possessions. Meanwhile, the team that's chasing is still chucking up threes, still trying to score, and trying to, make it less and less embarrassing. But I don't know how you could be any less embarrassed here. Pacers lead 125-94 over the Cavs, as your live total is at 238.5. This one will go over the total, so it will hit the over. So if you have the over for the game, congratulations, you hit that. And the Pacers will cover, obviously, winning outright convincingly. And if you played the props that we gave out earlier on the show, it is a perfect undefeated prop night. Because, and boy, I wish I did the same game parlay. Then again, would I have done the Cavs in that parlay? If I did, I would have lost. But think about this. Look at this. Darius Garland, 21 points, 6 assists. He goes over his points prop. He goes over his assist prop. And obviously goes over the best bet of over 21.5 points plus assists. And Tyrese Halliburton goes under 17.5 points with just 11 points. So the props played out. The game goes over. The Cavs absolutely don't cover. But fourth quarter right now, there's 4:24 left. They're just playing out the strings here. An 18-16 fourth quarter lead for the Cavs. But the Cavs a much better second half, obviously outscoring the Pacers 38-29 in that third quarter. But the deficit is still 30 points here in this game. And your live number right now, 27.5 is your live spread. And the Cavs are only up 2 here in the fourth quarter. So over the next, basically that bet right now would be, if you think over the next 4 minutes and 24 seconds, do you think the Cavs outscore the Pacers by 3 points for the rest of this game? Down 30, line's 27.5. They're up 2 in the fourth quarter. Do they win the fourth quarter by 5? Hey, that's a reduced price because that fourth quarter line was minus 6.5. So you got the fourth quarter minus 5 here, and your live total of 239.5 as we sit here at 220 or 125 to 220. Yeah, no, not feeling it. So where we're looking at right now is moving forward. We're looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Well, the Pacers are going to win this series. The question is, how many games are they going to win this series in? Are you confident? Are you confident in the Pacers coming back here? I mean, in the Cavs coming back here? I think that's a legit question. And we know, I gave the numbers out, only 13 times has a team come back from down 3 games to 1. And I think that this game, more so than any other game that we've seen so far, certainly has to open the eyes of the betting markets. And so even though this series shifts back to Cleveland for game number 5, I don't know. Cavs are 8-point favorites for game number 5. How could you lay 8 points with this team? And I understand the spot tells us that historically these teams come through. If you lose, let's see. I'm going to look up the numbers here because I'm curious. And we'll start with, we'll go in the history of the playoffs, I guess. If you lose on the road as, an away favorite, and now you're a home favorite in the next game, let's see. How do you do? Wow. Yeah, 65-22 straight up, 49-37 ATS. If we just look recent history, though, from the start of the 2021 season, so post-COVID, not great ATS numbers. 14-4 straight up, though, 9-8-1 ATS. If you lost the game on the road as the away favorite, and now you're the home favorite, so we're just going to call it the game is, the series game is number 5. So let's isolate it even further. You're 7-2 straight up, but 3-6 against the spread. And looking at the quarters for the averages, you're outscoring your opponent 28-26 in the first quarter, 26-24 in the second quarter, 27-25 in the third quarter, and 27-25 in the fourth quarter. So on average, a 6-point win for these teams on average in the situation that the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be in game number 5. That is only going back, though, to the start of the 2021 season. If we just look in the history of the database, which goes back to the 2002 playoffs, these teams better 35-24 against the spread. And the average numbers here, wow, first quarter blowouts. 27-20, that's not 27-23 first quarter, and the first half slightly. It feels like the zigzag spot here is on the Cavs and on the Cavs early. I can't lay the 8 points. I'm not going to lay the 8 points on the Cavs. First quarter, though, I would look at the Cavs. Cavs first quarter would be the look for me. Cavs first half, you're certainly going to pay a price, a premium on that when that market opens up. It should be 4 to 4.5. You might get Cavs -5 or 5.5 for the first half because they're going to tax you on this zigzag. But I'll be honest, I have no interest in Cavs -8 for the game against the Pacers. You would think they would show up at home after being embarrassed like this, but they could also be a dead team walking, and that would just be a disaster on their home floor. But I think if you're going to get the effort from the Cavaliers that we expect to see from a team that is down 3-1 on their home floor, looking to stave off elimination after being embarrassed, going down at the half in the previous game by 41 points, the largest halftime margin in the NBA playoffs history, I think Cavaliers first quarter would be the play for me coming up on Tuesday. Cavaliers in the first quarter over the Pacers on Tuesday. Right now, live number 127-102 as the Cavs trying to cover that 27.5 point live line. Live line right now, 23.5, 127-102. And hey, that fourth quarter number, though, we talked about it. They were -6.5 for the fourth quarter. I didn't want to lay it because I thought that was just too big of a line. They're winning by 5 right now in the fourth quarter. A smarter bets start here and last all year long with VSiN Pro. For a limited time, we are slashing the price of our annual subscription. Normally $240, now just $199. And when you sign up today, we'll throw in an extra 2 months for free. That's 14 months of VSiN Pro access for less than 50 cents a day when you use promo code PRO. Get 14 months of access to our daily best bets from VSiN hosts and guests, exclusive splits from DraftKings and Circa Sportsbooks, 24/7 live video and full show replays on the VSiN Watch app, plus all of our special edition betting guides. Head to vsin.com/subscribe now and use promo code PRO to lock in 14 months of VSiN Pro for just $199. That's vsin.com/subscribe. Coming up next, we're going to take a look at the schedule for tomorrow and project ahead here for the NBA playoffs as we talk about the Cavs laying 8 in their game number 5 coming up on Tuesday. But we have 2 games coming up tomorrow on the ice as well, and we'll break that all down coming up next. I'm Scott Seidenberg, always on Twitter at ScottsOnAir, SCOTTSONAIR. This is Live Bet Sunday here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So much betting FOMO. Sometimes you talk yourself out of a good bet. All the numbers told us Cavaliers' fourth quarter was the play. In these blowout situations, it happens all the time. We looked at the numbers. The teams that are getting blown out win the fourth quarter. It just happens. It was at the half. We looked at the fourth quarter line at the half, and the Cavs were minus 6.5 for the fourth quarter. And I said, you know what? That's just too much of a tax. We can't be laying 6.5 in the fourth quarter. My goodness, we're going to be betting on backups, G League players and whatnot. Minus 6.5. We can't lay that in the fourth quarter. Cavs outscored the Pacers by 12 in the fourth quarter, 32-20. They win the fourth quarter. Pacers win the game 129-109, a 20-point victory for Indy. Now one win away from going to the Eastern Conference Finals. But Cavaliers now an 8-point favorite for game number 5 coming up on Tuesday in Cleveland. Let's take a look at the betting markets here for these NBA playoff games tomorrow and Tuesday. The Celtics are at the Knicks. It is game 4 of their second round series. The Celtics are a 6.5-point favorite. So, has there been any adjustment made? The Celtics were down 2-0 after blowing 2 20-point leads. So naturally, in a desperation spot for all intents and purposes, the Celtics were 5.5-point favorites in game number 3. And normally, you would think, because of the successful nature of the zigzag here in the NBA playoffs, and historically how successful the zigzag has been in the NBA playoffs. I mean, if you just take the team that, if you just bet the team that lost the previous game, how do they do in the next game is pretty darn good against the spread. Let's just isolate it to this year, because this year the zigzag has been tremendous. This postseason, if all you did was bet on the team that lost the previous game to cover the spread in the next game, you are 31-14-1 against the spread. That's right. 31-14-1 against the spread. That is over 68% ATS. Those numbers are incredible. You are up right now $1,560 about if all you did was bet on the team to cover the spread in the next game, the team that lost. That's crazy. That is crazy. So the zigzag obviously is being baked into the market, but not in this game, because the zigzag baked into this game, you would think would move the Knicks from a 5.5-point dog to maybe a 5-point dog, maybe a 4.5-point dog, but no. The Celtics, who were a 5.5-point favorite in game 3, blow out the Knicks and are now a 6.5-point favorite in game number 4. That's how strong the market feels about the Boston Celtics. And 20-point leads in 3 straight games. Yes, they blew the 2 of them, but 20-point leads in 3 straight games against the Knicks. This should be, really, a 3-0 series with the Celtics going for the sweep, let's be honest. But the Celtics, 6.5-point favorites here tomorrow. Elsewhere, the Timberwolves are 5.5-point favorites at the Warriors. So Minnesota wins what can only really be explained as an ugly game against Golden State the other day. They were 4.5-point favorites. And same thing, no zigzag here as the Timberwolves actually move up from a 4.5-point favorite to a 5.5-point favorite. So the market believing, well, I don't know about this game. Maybe it's more so not believing in the Golden State Warriors. Because, let's be honest, the only way that the Warriors, without Steph Curry, were going to be able to contend in this series is if playoff Jimmy showed up, right? And what happened in the last game? Playoff Jimmy showed up. 33 points for Jimmy Butler. Playoff Jimmy showed up, and they still lost. Because Ant-Man showed up. 36 points from Anthony Edwards. Timberwolves win 102-97. Yeah, late basket, so the Warriors do cover the 5.5 with that late basket. So just gut-wrenching loss if he did lay the points with Minnesota because they were covering. But no zigzag adjustment here. Timberwolves, 5.5-point favorites, just like they were or just like they closed, I should say, in game number 3. And then coming up on Tuesday, as I mentioned, Cavaliers, an 8-point favorite over the Pacers, which they were, 5.5-point favorites here in this game on the road in game number 2. Well, let's just go to game number 1. So in game number 1 of this series, they were 8.5-point favorites at home. Then coming off of the loss in the zigzag spot, they were actually up to 9.5-point favorites, but then when the injuries were announced, so no Darius Garland, no Evan Mobley, no DeAndre Hunter, they wind up closing as 5.5-point favorites. Then they were 5.5-point favorites on the road here in this game, and now 8-point favorites at home, so slightly below what they were for game number 1. And then also on Tuesday, the Thunder, 10.5-point favorites at home against the Nuggets. 10.5 for the Thunder against the Nuggets. The Nuggets winning in overtime, and then the Thunder winning an ugly game here today, where the first quarter, 17-8. OKC outscored them in the first quarter. I mean, that was embarrassing. But in game number 1, this is what the line was. Thunder were 10.5-point favorites in game number 1. They lose game 1. Zigzag comes into play. They get pushed up to 11.5. It settles back down at 10.5. So really no market adjustment on the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets with the series tied at 2 games apiece. Thunder are 10.5-point favorites just like they were in game number 1. Over on the ice, we have 2 games tonight, the Capitals and the Hurricanes from Carolina. Hurricanes with a 2-1 lead in this series, and we do have a system play here, which I tweeted out at Scott's On Air. This Stanley Cup playoffs, and I tweeted it to say, like, if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, you can certainly be hopeful for something, because teams in this postseason, in these Stanley Cup playoffs this year, after being shut out, those teams in the next game against the same opponent in the same series, those teams are 4-0, undefeated 4-0 after being shut out. And the games are 4-0 to the over. So not only are the teams winning, but they're winning convincingly because these games are going over the posted total. So 4-0 for the teams that have been shut out here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And we saw it happen with the Dallas Stars coming off of a shutout loss. They win 5-2 here over the Jets. Now the Leafs get shut out. Do we believe in the Leafs when the series shifts back to Toronto? Tomorrow night we have the Capitals coming off of a shutout loss. Capitals are plus 195. And even though all 3 of these games have gone under in this series, totals at 5.5, you can get even money to go over. I mean, these are strong trends here. I would expect a Capitals bounce back after being shut out. And then the Golden Knights will look to even up the series with the Oilers. They won in buzzer-beating fashion last night, and they are now down 2-1. The road team has won all 3 games of this series so far. Right now, the Oilers minus 130, VGK plus 110. Your total there is at 6.5. And then coming up on Tuesday, Jets and Stars will do it again from Dallas. The Stars are minus 148. And then the Maple Leafs at home against the Panthers. So how about this? Maple Leafs are home. Series tied at 2 games apiece. Home team has won every game of the series. The Panthers minus 142 on the road in Toronto coming up on Wednesday. Total there, 5.5 to the over. I think I'm going to be on the Caps tomorrow, and I'll be on the Maple Leafs on Wednesday. I'm going to keep playing the system. Teams that get shut out, I'm going to ride with them in the next game. Hey, coming up next right here after us on Live Bet Sunday, it's Cashing Out with Joe Serralo. And then tomorrow morning, make sure you wake up with VSiN by the books with Dave Ross and Jensen Lewis at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, followed by a numbers game with Gil Alexander at 10 a.m. Eastern. That's all coming up next right here on VSiN. I'm Scott Seidenberg, always on Twitter at Scott's On Air. You can hit us all up on the network at VSiN Live. This has been Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.